All right, so I just got back from watching Avatar: Fire and Ash, the third Avatar movie directed by James Cameron, which is a follow-up to two of the biggest movies of all time, Avatar and its sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, Way of Water was, it was a lot more. It invented a lot of new plot points because the first Avatar ended, all pretty cut and dry, right? There wasn't a lot of dangling plot threads, but this feels a lot more like this new one, Fire and Ash, feels a lot more like a continuation of Way of Water than Way of Water felt like a continuation of Avatar because Way of Water ended with a lot more dangling plot threads, and it also came out more recently. So it is recommended that you watch at least Way of Water in case you're still a little fuzzy on all the plot details. But speaking of plot, one of the biggest criticisms of these Avatar films is that they may be technical marvels and they might be gorgeous to look at, but they're not very, weighty, not very appealing to the critic sense of story. The plot is kind of cliche. A lot of people called it Fern Gully, Dancing with Wolves, Pocahontas, all that sort of stuff. And Way of Water was kind of similar to all those movies as well. And I will say, if you feel like the Avatar movies are bad because they are cliche in their plot and don't really do anything, aren't very nuanced, very cliche, and the characters are kind of one note, I don't think Fire and Ash will convert you to the side of these movies are great. I think this is it because this movie is very much still very cliche. There's not a lot of surprises here. You've seen these movies before. If you've seen Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or any of these, this is very similar to that. It is very cheesy, and yeah, like I said, just not a lot of surprises. Characters act like how you would expect them to act, and there's not a lot of plot twists or deep nuance and stuff like that. So if everything I just said makes you go, yep, that's why I don't like these movies, you probably won't like Fire and Ash. But if you look past all that and you watch these movies because, hey, the cliches, you like the cliches, you like the tropes, you like these character types, you're into it, and you're into the world, and you're into the technical marvel of this movie where everything, all the special effects looks perfect and seamless, then and you're like, hey, I can look past all the plot stuff because these movies are just fun. They're just fun to experience on a big screen. You're going to get more of that with Fire and Ash. The world is expanded a bit. There's some interesting new cultures introduced, and as always, the action scenes and just the overall spectacle, this world of Pandora is always, it's just still breathtaking and absolutely an absolute treat to watch on the big screen. So I'm in the second camp. I can accept that these movies aren't perfect and they're kind of whatever when it comes to the story, but it's not bad. Like, I wouldn't call it bad. It's just not really groundbreaking in terms of story. It is groundbreaking in terms of visual effects, and that is worth the price of admission alone. And the story is serviceable enough. It's like, when you go to Christmas is on my mind because it's Christmas season, but you go to like a Christmas light show. It's something you haven't seen before, but if it's good, it's good. And that's how I feel about these Avatar movies. Nothing you haven't seen before. I don't think the story is going to blow your mind, but it's not bad. You're not I wasn't rolling my eyes at anything. I was actually getting kind of into the story a little bit, cliches and everything. So yeah, all in all, I think Avatar: Fire and Ash is kind of just the same as all the other Avatar movies. And that's either a really, really good thing for you or it's a really, really bad thing for you. It just depends on your personal tastes, I guess. But I will say that, like I mentioned earlier, it is definitely a continuation of Way of Water, which came out 3 years ago. So you are going to want to, at least brush up a little bit on that because this movie doesn't really hold your hand as much when it comes to explaining who everybody is and what their relationships with everybody is. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Avatar: Fire and Ash.